Hey, welcome to I'm the Worst podcast. If you aren't aware, this is the podcast that has comedians share what they're the absolute worst at as we explore some of the biggest failures in life and find ways to laugh at it. First things first, I just want to thank you guys for supporting this podcast, giving it a listen. If you want to go the extra mile, take a small moment, like it, review it, subscribe to it, any of that stuff. I'd love it if you pause the podcast right now just to do that and then listen again. Helps out in a huge way. The bigger we grow, the better this podcast will get. That's my empty promise to you. I am the host of the podcast, Jeff Buck. You can find me, looking me up at Funny As Buck on Instagram, Twitter, or anywhere else. I fail at a lot of stuff, so I put it out there in the world. I feel like if I'm failing at something, I'm also getting better at it. So that's a little philosophy I follow. But join me today to talk about what they're the worst at. One of the funniest comedians I've gotten to see live. He's kind enough to come and do my stand-up shows when I produce them, and he's kind enough to sit down and do this podcast with me right here, right now. Currais, everybody.
Yo, what up?
Hell yeah. It's going well for me. Having a good morning. Cup of coffee, right. Pet the cat. All that. Yeah, it's morning for me. You're on Atlanta time right now. You're
Atlanta time right now.
Hell yeah. How are you, man? You're doing good over there?
Doing good. Yeah. So I got a place out here, and it's technically Lilburn. I guess it's like a little suburb area of Atlanta. I love it out here, man. It's nice to always get away from LA.
Yeah.
Every once in a while. The city can be a little much.
I hear you on that. I'm from the South originally, so I love that. Are you from Atlanta originally, or where are you from originally?
No, from Miami originally. But
Miami, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but basically my whole family moved up from Florida because, it'll be underwater soon enough. So we thought Atlanta, it'll be beachfront in 10 years anyway. So.
Right. That's true. Atlanta's great too. Great hub for comedy as well. Great spot to be as a comedian.
What a great thing. I mean, seriously, I love everybody here. Everyone's been so kind and welcoming. And it's just been a blast just getting to know all the local comics and getting to see like all these like young cats just grinding and really giving a shit about stand-up. Sometimes in LA, everyone gets a little jaded because everyone's kind of like just trying to get on TV a lot. And it's nice to see some people who are just kind of like, hey, yeah, I'm just kind of doing it for the love of the game. And I'm like, that's
just want to work on some jokes and have some fun.
Yeah.
I feel that. Nice. It's nice to be around that. My girlfriend and she wants to take a trip out to Atlanta in September. She wants to celebrate her big 30th, big strip club scene out there. She wants to hit the strip clubs and have a good time. And I'm like, hey, I'll join. Why not? So but yeah, that seems like a good place to do it. I've been to Atlanta once. It was cool. It was a short stint. I was only there for 2 days, so I didn't get to do a lot of comedy, but I enjoyed the city. I'd love to explore it some more. I got a lot of friends out there. Obviously, I know a lot of comedians out there. So hell yeah, man. But yeah, before we get into the podcast, let anyone know anything else you want to plug, anything you're working on, any projects, or where they can find you online, stuff like that.
You can find me at JC Comedian on Instagram. That's where all the upcoming shows and things that are going to be on. That's where I post everything. You can find me on Facebook too, JC Currais. Last name's hard to spell, but you can find that through my Instagram. Pretty much just got live shows going on right now. So, nothing super big to plug. That's going to be, I guess if you are looking to see me do stand up and you are in the Charleston area, South Carolina, I'll be there on the I should have been more prepared.
No, it's all good.
This is one of the things I'm in the worst at.
Yeah. I'll edit the dead space, make it look like you were quick with it. No, I'm just kidding.
If you guys are looking to see me do stand up, I'll be in Charleston, South Carolina on the 25th of this month of July.
Cool.
Depending on when this releases, I'm actually in Asheville tomorrow on Friday.
So not going to be
not going to be there. So yeah.
That Asheville show, by the time you listen to this, you missed out if you weren't at that Asheville show. What's that?
I've already crushed it in Ash.
Yeah, you already crushed it. It was a great
And then
show.
super excited about this show. On August 4th, I'll be in Athens, Georgia at the 40 Watt.
Oh, hell
Uh,
yeah.
really cool venue. And it's a real honor to get to perform there. And yeah, so a big time plug in that. That'll be all over my Instagram.
Yeah.
Ticket links and stuff will be up in my bio. Please, if you are in the Athens area or
Athens.
near Athens, and there was ever a time when you thought, hey, I want to go and check JC out. This is one of the coolest venues.
Or just
Um,
comedy in general. If you just want to have a good night of comedy, whether you
hell
know
yeah.
JC or not, go check it out. I mean, and you're gonna fall in love with JC, I guarantee it.
Oh,
That's cool, man. That's rad. I got some
yeah.
buddies in Athens. I'll send them that way. Hopefully,
Oh, dude,
hopefully
please,
they'll go.
man. Yeah, if you got anyone that has any contacts down there, I'll put them in touch with the people running the show. And yeah, I'm
Cool.
just excited to do that venue, man. It's like a little historic in
Yeah,
some
for
of the
sure.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
That's dope. Awesome, man. Well, I'm gonna get into it. We'll just
Yeah.
talk about the things we're worse at. You're obviously crushing it at the stand-up stuff. I'll break the ice. I'll share some of the stuff I feel like I'm the worst at lately. Lately is like I feel like I've been the worst at filling out a job resume. I'm going to a job right after we're done wrapping this. I got to go to a job that like I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but you just need to upgrade your life sometimes. You got to get better income and better benefits and stuff like that. So I'm trying to form a resume around, just this type of stuff, audio engineering, things like that I know I'm pretty sufficient at, but
Right.
I've never done that before. I'm so bad at like just taking the business jargon and putting it on paper. And like translating experience to paper is so hard for me. It's frustrating. Like my whole
Yeah.
life, I came from like a line cook background. So I would just show up to a kitchen with a knife, cut some carrots, and I'd get hired. It's like,
Yeah.
I wish there
Like
was I
you
wish I could just show
build
up
your
to like
own,
a
build your own show.
studio and you're like, put me in front of a laptop with Adobe and I'll show you how I can edit some shit. And then they're like, all right, good enough. Like maybe I do,
Yeah.
maybe I just need to start knocking on doors and trying that route. But yeah, the whole resume thing, it's I don't know what it is. It's like a tedious thing. I think I might, it's just like I just freeze and I'm like, I'll go play video games instead, which is another thing
Yeah.
I'm the worst at, is putting down the game controller and doing real life shit instead. But so procrastination on specifically.
I think I am a king procrastinator,
Yeah.
and maybe it's like a comics mindset where it's just we get caught up in a million different things. I feel like I'm always like focusing on one thing, but then I'm just off to another thing without
Mhm.
finishing it a lot. Focus is hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, One thing that I wish I had a little bit more. I wish I was a little more grounded in that, but it's like a give and take too. I think I'm more creative because
Mhm.
my brain is running so many programs at once, if you
Right.
will.
Yeah, if you're like me, it's like you chase that creative rabbit. Once you get that spark, you're like, oh, I'm going down this route. It's like
Gotta go that way.
I'm an
Change
animator one
course.
day and then I'm a
Yeah,
fucking, now I'm into boxing the next day or something crazy. It's like you just,
yeah,
you find that, you got to find a balance to that, which is always tough. But yeah, I don't have a LinkedIn. I don't have any of that shit. I don't know.
yeah.
But
The
to me, it
business
just
aspect
seems
is
also
awesome.
it's the language behind it that like it's
Yeah.
like I don't know. Anyways, I need to just hire someone to do it for me.
Dude, that's it. Like it's like when you're not good at like the one side of a like it's like the business aspect of stand up and the
Yeah, for
business
sure.
aspect of
Yeah,
stuff. I'm not great at that. I'm not great at
yeah. Hmm.
you know the contracts and trying to get the best rate for myself. You know when I was booking myself early on in my career, it was just sending emails and basically begging,
Yeah, yeah,
hey,
yeah.
work.
Right. And you didn't realize like, oh, there's a professional way to do this. But
Yeah,
yeah, you might not know that. Yeah, it's so crazy. Yeah, the business side of stand up for sure. It's like it could be jarring and deterring for a lot of comedians, a lot of great comics who you
yeah,
probably know some people like this. I definitely know some of the funniest dudes in like a small scene might never grow because they're just like, I don't want to fucking send an email to get booked on. So, it's just like
I'm
it's like,
not going to take the time to like do the other side of it. And then
yeah.
the other part of it is it's kind of funny is you'll see guys who, uh, or just people in general who are not as good of stand-ups, but they're
Hmm.
going to grow faster, and they might not have the skill as some of these other people, but
Right.
they're
But
the
they
other
get
side.
they get the business side down. Yeah,
Promotion,
100%.
social
Yeah.
media, the like that aspect of it, they
Hmm.
kill it at, and that can make you grow as fast as being the funniest motherfucker in the room.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You'll see people on a stage and you're like, how the fuck did this guy get up there? Like without saying names or anything, but we all every comedian can relate to that. And the person's probably justifiably good, and you're just like,
Yeah,
I could do that too, though, but you don't have the fucking maybe the drive at the moment they have or whatever it is.
the hustle or just the
There's so
skill
many,
set to do that. Yeah.
so many things fall into play in that. But yeah, I mean it's crazy. But I'm not here to talk about what I'm bad at. We're here to talk about what you suck at.
Yeah.
What you're bad at, what you failed at. What do you feel, JC? What do you feel like you were the worst at, whether it be now, whether it be in the
The
past?
number one thing I'm the worst at
Mhm.
is math. I am
Math?
so bad with numbers.
Oh
It
shit.
is
Okay.
insane. Like I have to pull a calculator out to do like a tip on like a restaurant or a bar. I literally have no aptitude for it in the
Wow.
least bit. Like simple math too.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah.
fuck like addition, subtraction, dude. I
Yeah.
just do not have a numbers brain.
You grew up going to school, so I mean, obviously, math is taught at a young age for a lot of
That's
people. So,
true.
like
Yeah,
your educational background, like
yeah.
where did you grow up going to school? Was it in Florida, in Miami?
Florida, Florida, yeah, yeah. So in
Yeah, yeah.
Miami, in Florida, and I'm not even knocking the education that I got. It's
Mhm.
not like I got a shitty education, you know.
No,
I
I mean you can. Come
college
on.
and the whole.
Yeah.
But you know, it's
Like,
funny. I just it I just never got the grasp of it. I always had to have a calculator, and
mhm,
if I got by in a math class, it's because I was sitting there and like trying at it so fucking hard
gotcha.
that I made it. Right? It's like it never came easy for me, and it still doesn't. And I guess
Interesting.
if you don't work at something, it never will.
Yeah, I feel you on that. In a way, math. I was always pretty good at math, but I feel like
Yeah,
the only reason for that is, I also came from like a southern public. I'm assuming you went to public school. I could be wrong.
I did.
Yeah, I came from a southern public school background, but I don't think it was ever because I remember like my parents having to get a tutor one time for me for algebra, and I just like I couldn't get that down, but it was like really my dad was a chemical engineer. He used to teach algebra and things like that as a freelance or whatever as a side gig. And so he came from a big math background. So I feel like if it wasn't for him being in the household, it would have never stuck with me. So he just kind of like was able to sit there and drill it with me and kind of make help me with it, especially like later on, like early math, like the early stuff, just multiplication, division, things like that, I was able
Yeah,
to get. But once I got to algebra and calculus and stuff like that later on, where like late high school and college, it was like a foreign language. And like, I credit him for making me understand it. And I became, I got better at it. I had some decent teachers in high school and stuff like that. But again, it's just like, I mean, you know how it is in a school setting. Sometimes, you're just not, it's hard to focus, especially as a kid. We were talking about not being able to focus earlier. I mean, that's probably an attribute that we had at a young age. So unless someone's
right.
forcing you to sit there and do it, it's not going to get done.
Yeah,
Um,
I think maybe that I probably have like ADHD or something like that. I never got
yeah,
diagnosed for it, so uh, and maybe I should go see somebody. But this is the way my brain works now, so I like it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
yeah,
like if I had to switch things up now, it would hinder me in some weird way. But maybe that's just me being I
yeah. You
don't know.
never know. Who
I don't
knows?
know.
Yeah, I mean, why you don't want to fucking experiment with the chemical imbalance? Like
Well, I'm
I've gotten
35.
so long with
I'm
this chemical balance, I don't want to shift it
bound been
around.
pretty solid for this long.
Yeah,
I
it's
think I'll
working
stay.
well for you. So, um, is there a specific like time you can remember where just math, just you were just like fuck, like uh,
Yeah, big time. Probably just every time I'm out a at a restaurant with a group of friends,
mhm.
it just like and if I'm like I'll generally be like, oh, I'll pay for it and we'll figure it out at the end. And then I always just go like they'll be like, oh yeah, what was it split? 5 ways, and I'll go like, you kind of look at it like I'm just
Yeah,
like
you guys figure it out.
tell us what the percentages are, and I'm like, No, I'd rather not. It's just like here, everyone just look at it.
You're like, at that point, you're like, you know what? I'll just pay for it. Don't worry about it. I'll pick
Yeah,
up the.
like someone would be like, yeah. So it was $248 for all of us. So everybody send, and they'll just say like instead of saying a number, they'll
Yeah.
be like, yeah, we'll just split it. It's 5 ways, and I'll be like, and that
Yeah.
is how much? What it's
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, just give
I'm
me a
bad.
fucking number. Just tell me how much. Yeah.
Yeah, just tell me the number. My brain's just not meant for. And again, like I'll get mocked because I'll pull the calculator out.
Yeah.
And
What?
then
Oh,
they're
fuck
like, I'm like,
them.
what, really, bro? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like that. It's like that.
Yeah. At
Maybe
that
it's
point,
also
just
because I don't like. I'm kind of like a perfectionist,
yeah.
so I'm like, I don't want to be off by $1 or what.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
some people just do the math quick and just say whatever, even if I'm off by a little. For some reason, I always need it to be like exact.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that
I've been
cleanness
that.
of it.
I've been on that side where it's like splitting the check or whatever, but I've been like boozing at dinner with the friends or whatever. So now I'm just like, what is it? Whatever. Here, just take fucking $60, and I fucking give them $40 more than I need to. And I'm just like,
Oh,
the next day, I'm like, why did I give him that much
why
money?
did I do that?
I was just so drunk. I was just like, here, just take it. It's fine.
I was having too much fun to think about future life.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. So you said like, yeah, why even try? Do you feel like you want to get better at the math thing, or you're just like, you've kind of accepted defeat
No,
at this
no.
point,
Honestly, the thing that I'm
as long
like,
as you have the calculator?
I just don't care anymore. I'm like, fine, all right, I'm dumb. Great, everyone think I'm dumb. The thing that I think I'm probably I think I'm working on to get better at, and it's like a thing that I think it's hindered me in, especially in stand up and stuff, is being able to take a compliment or being able to
Uh,
like take, or just like even when I'm not happy with something, having the wherewithal to have, when someone comes up and goes, hey man, great set, and even
you're
if
like,
I hated it, even if I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
enjoy it, not to go, yeah, well, it fucking sucked. Like
yeah,
I,
right,
I
right.
and I feel like I've done that. I used to do it all the time. I'm getting so much better at it now.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think what it did was it made a lot of people think I was mean and
Oh,
or like off-putting, like in a,
right. They're like, all right, Jesus, just trying to be nice.
oh, yeah, like, gee, I was just trying to be fucking nice, man. I didn't
Yeah.
actually like the set. I was just saying it. But I think maybe that's all the time I think that. It's like
Yeah.
imposter syndrome too. Like I'll go
Mhm.
up, I won't like it. Someone will come up and go, hey, that was great. And I'll be like, fuck you. Like something better. I'm trying to like go like, no, people genuinely like you and think you're good at this. And
Yeah.
also, especially like once I did Conan and people were seeing me as like I still think of myself as like a little baby comic, right?
Mhm.
And that I don't even think about comics who are like, oh man, I watched your stuff when I was gonna start.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like, oh, you're a veteran in like in the stand up, and like, oh, I want you to like me. I want to say a nice thing to you. Like like I'll forget that sometimes, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. Yeah, yeah. So it's like I'm trying to be like, oh, be composed, be nice. Like know that people are like it's taking something out of them to come up and just say, hey, I want to chat with you or whatever. So
Mhm.
that's something I'm trying to get better at.
I feel you.
Except
There's
politeness.
also
Yeah.
I mean, agreeing with you in the sense of like just coming from like the as a performer, you're psychoanalyzing every little detail of your set. You want it all to like hit on all cylinders as best as it
Yes.
can. So if a few things fail on stage, you're like, fuck, that didn't fucking hit the way I wanted to hit. But you get off stage and a random audience member comes up to you. They don't realize that that joke could have killed more than it could have, but to them, they
Yeah.
still like the joke as it was. They're like, "Hey, good set." You're like, "You have no fucking idea. That joke could
Yo,
be better."
like or like the whole set
I
is
forgot
great.
the setup, and I gave you the punchline too early, or something like that.
The whole set goes great, but the one thing you wanted to work on, the
Yeah, yeah,
one
yeah. The
joke,
one joke you're working. It's like, yeah, of course my killer is killed. It's like I've been doing
like
those for years. I don't care about that joke. I'm excited about this new one that I'm trying to get to stick, and
that
it's
one
not
failed.
sticking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So then
feel you
I'm
on
like,
that.
yeah, I think that's something that I've always been really bad at. Like
Mhm.
just the idea of not taking my personal feelings on something I did creative and putting it all on it, like
Mhm.
assuming that my criticisms of it and my feelings towards it automatically are what the answers are. Like, because I remember when I did the Conan set, I wasn't really happy with it
Mhm.
when I did it. I got done. It was a big relief. It was over, but then I didn't like it. Like I didn't want to watch
Okay.
it. And I didn't want to. It wasn't what I wanted it to be.
Gotcha.
Um, and then so many people liked it. So many people, it got me so many more fans, and and I had to accept that they liked it, and I couldn't be like, no, bad, don't look at it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I
So
feel you. Do you
yeah,
have somebody, I mean, you probably have like, fellow comedians and friends, like someone in your
yeah,
corner you can talk shop to directly and kind of be like
absolutely.
that understand that are like, oh yeah, that joke did suck. You can kind of be
Yeah,
real,
yeah,
that'll be real with you, and give you that honest feedback.
yeah.
Uh
Ton. I have so many good comedian friends
yeah,
and
yeah.
like people I've been doing comedy with for a very long time who
Mhm.
all will be pretty honest with me and also be the ones to be like, hey, you're being too hard on yourself
Yeah, yeah.
too, which is a good thing. Like I need that more than I need. I beat the shit out of myself so
Right.
much.
So you don't need someone to pile on top of
I,
that.
I don't. If that rarely,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
already piled on so hard,
Yeah.
but it's generally the other way.
Mhm.
And very supportive people. Chris Cope is one of
Oh
my
yeah,
oldest
yeah.
friends. You know, I started with him. He was already doing it, but I like looked up to him,
Yeah, yeah.
and we're brothers at this point. And Lisa Best, is another person who like when I'm like fully down on myself, and
Mhm.
I call her up. She's like my little sister,
Nice.
and then the buddies that I just pal around with and do a ton of stand up with, the guys who are going and opening for me, and
Right.
we travel together. James Fry and Ralph Guerra, Justin Clark,
Oh yeah,
Sam
dude.
Gold. And there's a lot of really great, comics. It's always good. You got to have a group.
Yeah,
Elise
yeah.
Gold, Katie Miriam, like you got to have people in your corner and cool people who are gonna like, you know, um, be there and be the ones who are going to go, hey, they'll help or what,
Mhm.
without people, you can't do this shit.
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty impossible.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice having people in your corner, and sometimes even people that aren't directly involved in stand up, but still kind of get like, in my instance, like my girlfriend just came to a show recently with me, and like she gets what I'm trying to do, and she's
Yeah,
like, she's seen my set so many times that now she can like be like, oh, I saw when you changed something. She can tell when I change something around or if a joke changes up. She notices because she's seen it all or hears me. I
yeah,
bounce ideas off her sometimes. So I went and did a set, and like I didn't bomb by all means, but it was just like, it was like sometimes it's pulling teeth, getting stuff out of a crowd, So it was like one of
yeah.
those shows, and you fail gracefully, if you will. And I got off stage, it's like, that sucks. She's like, what do you mean that didn't suck? It's like the new stuff you did, like it did well, and like, you just kind of like and basically it was like you just weren't excited telling your old stuff. I was like, yeah, because it's like, I'm telling stuff that I know, it's tried and true. And sometimes you get tired of telling those jokes and you're just like, you phoning it in and like you're like, you should be laughing more at this, but whatever. But
Preaching to the choir, yes. Like,
yeah,
because
yeah.
again, like if you're traveling and doing like long sets, a
Hmm.
lot of times you are doing the older stuff,
Hmm.
and you kind of have to do
You have to be
the
excited about it again.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can kind of try and mix it up. And again, like I do, I do a lot where I'll just be like, fuck it, I'm going to change a couple of things here and there inside of stuff just to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll improv a lot during shows, but not like I don't do a lot of crowd work, but I'll
Hmm.
play inside of because that's what like a lot of times I treat my material like it is a sandbox. I can go different directions and kind of
Right, right,
play.
right, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
a way to keep it somewhat fresh, but even then you're like, all right, I know where this is going.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you mentioned you feel like you're the worst at math, and yet so many comedians equate comedy to being on like a measuring scale of beats and rhythm and like
Yeah.
having precise math to it. Do you feel that way at all? Do you equate math like, like You just are like, nah,
Not
it's
at all. Like I definitely think about like pacing and stuff like that.
right, right,
Like,
right, right.
but, like, I don't. Not at all. I know
Yeah.
that I feel like it's more formulaic.
Mhm.
Like you can think about like joke structure in that
Right.
way, and but I don't even think about that when I'm
Mhm.
writing out stuff. I do so many stories
Right, right,
uh,
right.
that it doesn't feel that way for me. And I think that I think of it more in like a writing way too. So
Mhm.
it's more like that for me. And even when I'm like editing things out, it's not for it's the rhythm inside of it as opposed to like I don't see it as numbers. I see it
Yeah,
as
yeah,
like
you just feel the
yeah
rhythm of it rather than like, yeah, I feel that. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I was just
yeah.
curious because
The only thing that I think about numbers wise when I'm on stage is have I doing the time, the amount of time,
right.
which and ask anyone who I perform with regularly, I'm awful at that.
There you
Like
go.
I run the light every fucking time.
Okay.
I'm bad at knowing how long I've been up there
Yeah,
and
yeah.
how long I have to go. Like when I do long sets and it's the early show, I'll literally tell the sound person like light me at 20, at 30, at 45. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'll get 4 lights to make sure that I get the fuck off
Yeah, yeah,
stage
yeah.
because I'll lose track of time.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. That's wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes I mean, yeah, running the light, man, or not running the light, but just like that awareness of time can like
Oh,
there's some shows where it's like, especially if you're not getting the laps you want to get, and you just feel like you've been going way longer than you are, and you're like,
oh my God.
it hasn't been fucking 20 minutes yet. Like I feel like I've been up here for 30.
I've done what I normally do. Like I've done the 45 and I've what done 15? Oh,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah. Yeah, you're like, fuck, all right, let me fucking dig some more.
I'll dust some old shit off.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think like who's the best at like intertwining math and comedy. I don't know. I've heard stories of fucking Seinfeld being super strict about timing and being like,
Yeah, I
you
can
gotta
see
hit
him
that.
being that kind of guy who's and
Yeah,
I know there are a lot of guys who like they have like breakdowns of like laps per minute and
yeah,
they'll
all
cut
that
notes
shit.
and it doesn't stay in that like range that they're trying to hit.
Yeah, there's a couple killers I can name that are just like yeah, if you want to go to that last per minute, they fucking squeeze in some like rapid fire. You know, you look at a lot of New York comics, they're all about just like bop, 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 rapid fire.
Like
Um,
I like a short joke. I think that
yeah, yeah.
they're very hard to write
Hmm.
because they have to stand on their own. There's not a lot of you can't if you're doing trying to do a really short joke. It has to be the tight. It has to be so tight. It has to be. There can't be any fat on it. So the setup, everything has to be crisp.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's generally what I try and do when formula wise. The
Mm,
more I think about stand up, I try and break sets down like this. I go, I'm going to do all the quick stuff up front.
okay.
So I guess I do think of it in that way, where I'm like, I'm going to try and get as many laughs. And it's not about it's not about math. It's about trust. I
Yeah.
want that audience to be
Okay.
they trust me. I can do whatever I want now. They're like, okay, we like JC. Now he can talk
That's
without
smart.
having to like ba 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 ba.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's true, because it's like if you go up there and you're telling this long-winded story for the first 10 minutes, like where's this guy going with this? Like how
Yeah.
do I know this is going to be worth it? But if you
How do
fucking
I know this is gonna pay
yeah,
off?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
smart. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. All right. Well, we'll keep it short and quick on this podcast too. I got to get going before I get fired from this
Okay.
job. But but I do, unless you had any other thing you're the worst at that you can think of that you want to share. Or...
You know, let me think. Something else that I'm terrible at. Running.
Running. Yeah, that's fair. I'm pretty bad at running too. I fucking
Give me a
yeah,
bike, man.
I fucking
I'll
hate
ride a
running.
bike.
Yeah, I do. I know. I yeah, I feel you on that.
We're big boys.
Um,
Like that's what it is.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
bro, get me to
Fucking
run someplace. I'm like, there better be
tough.
something facing me.
Yeah, it's tough on the knees, bro. The older I get, the harder it is on the knees.
Tell me, man,
Anyways,
that's the game changer.
All right, cool. Real quick before we go, I like to play a quick game with everybody called Who's the Worst? And I usually just do, I'll do like who's the worst Spider-Man, who's the worst Batman, and
Let's
I
do
just
it.
kind of a random one. I was looking at your Tombstone poster behind you. Big fan of that movie.
Love.
So in the vein of movies, this is an abstract one, but who's the worst movie concession snack? Like you go to the movie concessions.
Ooh,
The worst.
I don't like red vines. I don't like Twizzlers.
Oh, red vines, Twizzlers. You don't like either, because some
I don't
people
like
some people are either or.
Right, they're switch. I feel like it's too much chewing for too little flavor on all of them.
Yeah, it's like wax. You're like I
It is a
you get a whisper of cherry or whatever the fuck strawberry, but it's mostly wax.
And I also don't like cherry, so I think that might be something.
There you go.
For me, it's always about popcorn, man.
Oh,
that's
of course.
the number one.
That's the best. Of course, you got to get the popcorn. I like getting my favorite is popcorn, and then I get a peanut M&M, and then I dump the M&Ms in the popcorn. So then, as you're eating the popcorn, you get a little treat every now and then.
There it is. Peanut M&Ms popcorn. That's a home run.
Hell yeah, dude! You can't go wrong there.
That's two favorite movie theater snacks, so we're on the same wavelength.
Fuck yeah, bro. All right, man. JC, thank you so much for sharing today. I appreciate it. Any last little plugs? Obviously, Athens on August 4th.
August 4th.
What was that?
Let's go.
Yeah, for sure. We'll send people your way on that. Hell yeah. Anything else to say? Nothing?
No, just JC Comedian on Instagram and on TikTok. New stand-up videos coming out on both those. Check out I always plug them because they're the best. Don't Tell Comedy too. Hit them up.
Fucking love Don't Tell. They're great, dude.
I love them. They're the best. They take care of so many people, and
the videos they've been putting out, man, they're banger. They're fucking.
They're doing more and more stuff too. So
I love it.
Probably some collaborations coming down the pipe between me and those guys too. So
hell yeah, I love that. Awesome, man. Well, again, dude, thanks so much for taking the time doing the podcast. I really do appreciate it. And we appreciate y'all for listening. We hope you tune in again. This is the podcast called I'm the Worst, but our fans are the best. See you next week.
Cheers.